Hey guys, how you doing? I wanted to create this short little video right at the beginning of the peerScholar assignment. And this one will really focus on the first step of the peerScholar assignment. You're going to have 3 steps. And prior to each step, I hope to do a video like this just to kind of make sure we're all on the same page and to give you the best chance of getting the best grade you can get. So I highly encourage you to watch all 3 videos. This first one, again, is on the basic assignment itself because, you're going to realize that peerScholar is kind of multiple assignments in one. There's the task I'm going to give you now, but then there's the task of commenting on your peers and the task of revising your work. And so all of these are part of the grade, and they're all sort of part of the same assignment. But for now, you don't have to worry about that latter stuff. What I want you to worry about is trying to create an effective, powerful, compelling argument. So let me give you the rationale to begin with. The rationale is just this. There are times in your life when you will gain the stage, you will have people's attention, and you will have an opportunity to change the way they think about something. Hopefully there's some issue or some idea or some cause that you feel very strongly about, you feel very passionate about, and you will be given the opportunity to try to convince others they should feel like you do. Now, when you get these opportunities, they tend not to be very long. Like if you look, for example, I don't know if you watch CNN or you watch any kind of news show, or even, I don't know, Jon Stewart, whatever you want to think of, you will have guests come on these shows that represent something, but how long are those guests actually given to talk? Typically it's a very short period of time. Hi, welcome to the show. You're here for, Breast Cancer Awareness Week. What do you want to say to people? And boom, that person's got the stage. So you will be in that position. And if you know how to represent yourself and your ideas and your perspective well, you will be influential and you will be successful. And so that's the real goal of this first part of the assignment and ultimately the revised part of what you're going to do. I want you to take an issue, in this case the should humans eat meat issue, and try your best to create a powerful argument. So let me walk around that a little bit. First of all, when I say argument, I don't mean argument. I don't mean the emotional, and in fact often, some emotion sometimes okay. Passion is certainly good. But I don't mean yelling at people. What I mean when I say an argument is an opinion backed up. Okay? So an opinion is just, I think this, I think this. An argument is, I think this, and I have good reasons for thinking what I do, and I want to tell you those reasons because I think you should think the same way I think. Okay? So you're trying to be persuasive. You're trying to convince somebody that your perspective on some issue is worthy of attention, and perhaps that whoever's listening should reconsider your perspective and perhaps even adopt your perspective. That's what an argument is about. Now, I've given you this weird topic, should humans eat meat? So first of all, why that topic? Some people say that doesn't sound very psychology. How should I connect it to the course? Well, it certainly is psychology. Anything to do with human behavior and human decisions that they make is related to psychology. But I admit that it's not so much related to the things we've talked about so far in the course. But that's not really important because your task is not to connect this issue with psychology. Your task is to form a strong, efficient, compelling argument related to this topic. I chose this topic more because it's a really interesting clash of tradition with data. That is, I think the obvious answer you will all have is, well, of course humans should eat meat. Everybody eats meat. A lot of people eat meat. Well, first of all, not everybody does, but a lot of people do. But I want you to inspect that. So the goal is to get you to self-inspect a little bit and to think about, well, is there a rational basis? If I had to form an argument for this, could I form an argument? Is it actually easier to form an argument for the should not eat meat side? So I like this issue because when I throw students into it, they complain. They say, wow, it was really hard to argue for what I like to do. Excellent. If you're engaged in thought, if you're trying to work things out, if you're trying to sort things out, that's what I love, and that's why I like this topic. So you don't have to take on the big topic. In fact, you shouldn't. So what I mean by that is there are a lot of sort of sub issues you could look at. So are there health reasons why humans should or should not eat meat? Are there environmental reasons why humans should or should not eat meat? Are there ethical reasons why humans should or should not eat meat? You know, there are different levels at which you can attack this, and it's perfectly okay, and in fact, it's probably desirable to pick one of these smaller levels, to say only on a health basis. So I'm only going to consider this issue in terms of health, or I'm only going to consider this issue in terms of economy, economic factors, or something like that. So feel free to restrict the argument, but then what you want to do is take a position, make sure it's very clear what it is you're arguing, and then argue it. And what I mean by that is provide reasons why other people should accept your position. Now, when you do this, make sure there aren't obvious counter arguments to what you're saying. Like you know, for an example, some people might say humans should eat meat because they have to. They'll die if they don't eat meat. Well, that's just wrong. I haven't eaten meat for I don't know how long. 10, 15, 20 years. I'm not dead yet. In fact, I feel pretty good. I feel better than a lot of my meat-eating friends, I believe. So, you know, you can't just throw something out there where there's an obvious counter-argument to what you're saying. In fact, just about everything you say, you should try to back up somehow with a reliable source. So we do want some referencing, APA-style referencing, and in fact, anytime you make a strong claim, as though you're saying something is true or something is known, you need to be able to support that claim with a reference. And so that's ultimately your goal. Take a position, you know, take the topic and make it something manageable, and then choose a position, and then argue that position as well as you can. This is a short piece. Part of this is about efficiency. So I think we say 300 to 500 words. It's about being compelling and being efficient and being clear. So making sure the structure and everything is very clear so the person knows what your argument is and they see why you believe the way you do, and they're hopefully compelled to believe it as well. Cool. That's basically it. Now, I do want to say this is a hard task. And I kind of feel like I'm throwing you into, you know, karate and asking you to behave like a black belt, and you're going to say, I find this hard. It is hard. Okay? If I were given 5 minutes on CNN tomorrow to say something to convince people, for example, to stop doing animal research or something like that, wow, I would have to do some really hard work to figure out what I want to say and how I want to say it, especially with the efficiency thing there. It's a hard task. It's a task I hope we will ask you to do repeatedly through university, and this may be the first step. I don't care what other people think. I care what you think, which is a tricky, I want you to own this, which is a difficult thing. So, how can you do well when I'm asking you to do this difficult task? One thing I would say is on this first draft, it's only worth 2 of the full 12. But pretend it's worth the whole thing. Like, put a lot of effort into this first draft, because if you do well now, then I'm going to ask each of your peers to tell you one thing you could change that would make your piece better. And if it's already pretty good, and you now get 5 or 6 ideas of how to make it better, you can make it really good, okay? And so those 4 points at the end, you can kind of slam dunk and get and do really well on those 4 points in the end. If you instead decide, I'll worry about it at the end when it's due, I'm just going to submit something now, and you just submit something, not only are you going to get a bad mark at a 2, but you're not going to get very useful comments on how to improve. You're going to get a bunch of students saying, yeah, it was a crappy assignment. The first thing he could do is do the assignment properly. That would make it a lot better. So your comments that you get won't be very helpful, and you'll basically be, you know, trying on your own in the second step. And I think a lot of students, you know, do that accidentally. They do that out of laziness or whatever, and they end up being dinged. I told you that the average on this assignment tends to be in the 50 to 60 range, so 50, 60%. So it's a tough assignment. Best thing you can do the first part right. Best thing you can do from there, come back for my second video, make sure you do the second part right, and the third part right, etc. Okay? So hopefully that'll get you started. I think what you'll find is, the first thing you should be doing is doing some research on this tendency to eat meat, and what are the arguments for, what are the arguments against, and trying to get a sense of where you stand. And you should spend a bit of time doing that. You can start writing anytime when the phase opens. Anytime during that period, you can copy and paste what you've done into peerScholar. So you can start now, and I would highly encourage you to do that. All right, cool. I'm going to shut up now. That's it. Have fun. Think a lot. If you're thinking a lot, then I'm happy. All right. Steven, bye-bye.